as the title says, guys, we just had our craziest day of $220,000 in one day trading. I'm just kidding, guys. Hey, I know y'all fell for the clickbait. I just want to test out the title to see if the price actually or the amount actually makes a difference. But really simple day, nothing crazy. We basically made the back the losses from yesterday. If you guys watched yesterday's recap, and yeah, really simple stuff. Essentially, we just made one RR today, so we are essentially break even on the week so far. No trade. Actually, no. We did make money on personal, so we're up one RR on personal, which is around $400. So as you can see, this was the trade. We're gonna cover this obviously why I took this trade in depth, right? And then yeah, you can see this is the P&L, $438, and this was on the Top Step accounts. All right, so let's get into the trade. So as you guys remember, right, we took a long over here, right, yesterday, and essentially we basically gapped up on the on the day, like right at the daily open. We just gapped up, right? Essentially, we just went up, no bottom wick or anything. I was expecting us to come down here and retest this level and then go higher because there was an area of low auction, low volume, and yeah, it essentially was that. But we unfortunately did not get that. And then once we kind of closed above here, I really just didn't like this price action because obviously we could have, maintained this high. I have seen that. I was obviously targeting this high yesterday, but I just, I would rather have taken a trade off this level than, just wait, right? And rather just have taken a trade off this level than just look for shorts, like right off here or something like that randomly, right? Now, obviously, as you can see, if we did take shorts right around here, we would have lost, okay? Now, obviously, you can see like when we close above here, we close and break above here, there's a very high probability now that we're going to draw towards this Asian high and then end up making another high. But you can see there was really no like retest of the level itself. It didn't really retest the level, right? That's the area of demand. Yeah, there was really nothing to take a short off of, right? Now, obviously, if we come into this higher time frame structure, I'm still very bearish. Why? Because we still haven't seen that Venezuelan gap get filled yet, which we should see price draw towards with high probability. And we're still maintaining this overall narrative of we're selling off right now and having bearish structure, right? Now, I have seen in some cases, because if we look at the monthly wick on this, or the monthly candle on this, let's see if I go over here real quick, you can see this candle has a huge top wick. So I have seen that price will open up, right? Even though this will be like a fake bottom wick, and then it'll expand all the way to some area around here, and then react off this level of supply, or even take out the high a little bit, and then end up dumping like this. So that's what we're probably going to see. I'm not going to lie. But also, based off this overall bearish narrative, we can still potentially have some short reactions of where we have short setups like around, in this area, and then we could take scalps off that and, take trades off that. So my whole thing was saying, listen, based on this weekly profile that essentially, from basically last week, right? If I were to, or excuse me, essentially this week, right? If I were to, actually not this week, let me go do this like this, okay? So you can see right here, right? If I come over and show you this indicator, right? So this is essentially showing the weekly volume profile, right? So this is basically showing last week's volume profile for reference, not this week, excuse me. And you can see right here we have the POC, we have the VAH, VAL, and then you guys should know how this works, how auction market theory works, how just how volume works, right? But essentially on the higher time frame, since this was last week's VAL, I was expecting a retest off of this, okay? So essentially you can see right here, basically we come in, we tap in that VAL, and then what I'm looking for is, you can see my entry was actually around what, 4983.3. So if we mark this out here, 4983.3, like this, okay? Basically what happened was really simple. Once we had essentially closed in this low, essentially, like not below this low, but like we kind of closed below this low, and that we had the nice engulfing. I literally just waited for the candle to wick up and then end up essentially just market selling right there, and then having my stop loss right above this high, and then targeting around a like 1 to actually it was a little bit higher. It was above the high, but I mean, like, for my TP, it was like right here. So it was essentially like this, okay? Not here. I trailed it here, essentially. After we broke structure again, I trailed it to this, I cut the risk in half. I trailed it to this high right here, and I kept trailing it. So that was the trade, essentially. We just waited for a retest off this little like micro structure right here, and then we ended in looking for shorts to take out the this internal low right there. And then you can see right here, once we had closed with this candle over here, I have the stop loss size to right here, okay? Right here, like this, all right? And then as we come up again, we then have this engulfing candle. That's when I moved to full break even. So that we were fully at break even then. And then once we had this engulfing, I closed it all the way, or I trailed it all the way to like about like 1 RR. So essentially it was trailed out right here for like 1 RR. You can see we hit that previous daily high, and then we ended up hitting our trail out level, and we barely missed our TP, which is fine. 1 RR is great. And yeah, that was basically the day. There's no more trades, and yeah, that's really it. Now coming into tomorrow, it is going to be hard to say because we do have all these dojis, really all these really big dojis. But I will say, maybe what we will do is we will retrace a little bit lower and then end up taking out this high, going around somewhere here, and then having our structural change and going down on the lower time frame to then reclaiming that daily low like this. So again, I'm gonna wait for price action to close on the day, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, really simple stuff. We end up being profitable on the day, and that's really all that matters, right? But thank you guys. I hope this breakdown made sense. If you have any questions, drop them below. But very simple, VAL, and then just a retrace off some microstructure, limit market sell, stop loss above the high, going for a 1 to 2. Really simple stuff. Going along with the fact as well, like if you look at Nasdaq ripped today, and usually when Nasdaq rips, you will have some consolidation on gold. Like it won't be as aggressive as Nasdaq. So I'm thinking, okay, this does make sense. Like 11, 12 o'clock, right? We can probably see some selling off now to a key level, and it makes sense with what's going on. So like I just didn't think we didn't have the volatility to just expand like that all the way like this. It just didn't really make sense to me. Okay, but really good stuff, guys. And yeah, I will go upload this. Take care. See you guys on the next recap.